In this tutorial, we'll be taking a look at creating the profile, pocket and drilling toolpaths used to create the Vectophone nameplate you see on the screen. The vectors used in this example were created in a previous tutorial, which can be found through the related video section to this tutorial. First, we're going to close out of this part by going to File, Close, and now I'm going to open the existing file, which is Vectophone vectordrawing.crv. And there you'll see the vectors created in the previous tutorial on the workspace. And now that we have that, we can look at applying the toolpaths. So I'm going to go across to the toolpaths panel here, and we're just going to initially set up the material. So click set. The thickness of the material is correct there, 1/8 of an inch, 0.125. The XY datum, instead of being in the center as we set it for creating the vectors, we're now going to set it in the bottom left hand corner. Our Z0 will be from the material surface still, and we just need to check over our rapid Z and home start positions just to make sure that they're safe and appropriate for your machine. And we can click OK to exit the form. Okay, so with that set up, we can now go ahead and start selecting some vectors to apply the toolpaths. So the first thing that we're going to do is an area clearance or a pocket toolpath between the outside perimeter of the text and the inside of the border. So for this, we need the pocket toolpath operation. So we'll come under toolpath operations and the second icon there, pocket toolpath. We'll just click that to open the form. And we're going to start by first selecting the Vectophone text. And then the second vector that we need is the inner border. So we can do that by holding Shift and left mouse click on the vector to select them at the same time. So now we've got the two sets of vectors which represent the area that we're looking to pocket. We can come up to the cutting depths at the start of the form. Our start depth is going to be from the top of the material, so we can leave that at 0. And our cutting depth in this case is going to be 3/64 of an inch. So we can type that in if we don't know that by 3/64 equal, and that will give you the decimalisation. After that, we can then come down and select our tool. So click select to enter the tool database. And in this case, I'm going to be using an 1/8 inch end mill. So I can select that in the list and then hit select. And we're not going to be using clearance tools in this case. We can remove the 1/4 inch end mill, which was already in the list, by highlighting it and clicking remove. And then we can choose our strategy. So we've got offset or raster. So in this case, I'm going to choose a raster strategy, and we don't need to worry about anything else in the form for now. So I'm just going to come down and I'm going to name this simply pocket, and then we can press calculate. So once you do that, it immediately switches to the 3D view. So to tile this, you can use the either arrange views horizontally or vertically buttons at the top. So if we just do that, and you can now see in the 2D view, you can compare the toolpaths here with how they're displayed in the 3D view. And that all looks good, so I just want to simulate that. So I'll just come across to preview all toolpaths in the preview toolpaths menu, and that will show a simulation of these toolpaths being machined on the screen. And I'm actually just going to change the toolpath color to a dark green so that we can see these edges more clearly. And if we take a look at this, we can see that there's some areas missing from the toolpath. So the middle of the P, middle of the E, and some of the details missing off the rest of the text. And that's a function really of us using a larger tool in this case. So we can use the preview to troubleshoot that, and we now know that we can come in and use a smaller tool for this area. So with that, I'm just going to come over and double click on the toolpath again just to open the settings. And we're going to look at the tool that we selected, the 1/8 inch end mill. And we haven't needed to in this case because they're already selected, but if you were going back into the form, you'd need to reselect the vectors used in this toolpath. So now that we're in the tool database, we'd actually like to use a 1/16 inch end mill instead of an 1/8 inch, but we haven't actually got this saved in our database. So there's one way that we can quickly add that, and that's by selecting the closest that we have existing in the tool database. And then we can come down and use the copy selected tool or group button, which will open up a form which allows you to copy over the settings from the existing tool to make adjustments and save a new tool. So at the moment the diameter is set at 1/8 of an inch and we want a 1/16, so we can change that from 0.125 to 0.0625. And you'll notice that once you do that, that immediately changes the name at the top. So that's automatically been called a 1/16 inch end mill. We've got the same number of flutes, that's fine. And then we'll come down to copy settings from. So this allows us to select which parameters we'd like to copy to set our feeds and speeds. So we've got 1/8 inch end mill, and I'm going to use the material hardwood in this case. And then I can go ahead and copy, and that will pull through all of the parameters from the existing 1/8 inch end mill over to our new 1/16 inch end mill. But I'm going to need to make adjustments, so we're using a smaller tool. So first of all, we're going to need to change the feed rate, not by a large amount here, but I'll just set that at 25, and we'll leave the plunge rate at 10. We are using hardwood, so that's maybe more on the cautious side of the line. And then we can click apply to set those parameters. And you can now see that that's already been placed in the tool list. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag that up to the top just so we've got them in descending order. And now we've created the 1/16 inch end mill, I can then select that, remove the 1/8 inch, and making sure we've still got our vector selected, I can come back down and hit calculate to recalculate that toolpath. Now, because we've made changes there to that toolpath, we're going to need to reset the preview because that's still displaying the simulated results before the changes. So we can go ahead and reset preview, and then we can preview that again by clicking preview all toolpaths. I'll just set the toolpath color back again. And now you can see that we've got a much better representation of our Vectophone text. Just bear in mind though that because we're only using the single tool instead of applying a clearing pass, it will take longer to machine. So now we've got that, the next part is to look at engraving the serial number onto the plate. So with that, we can close out of the simulation now, and we can go ahead and look at the profiling. So we'll just enter into the 2D profile toolpath, and we're just going to pick our text, so serial number 00001. And our start depth this time, instead of being from the material surface, we've already cleared away the area that the text is going to be sitting on with the pocket toolpath. And that was down to a depth of 3/64 of an inch. So again, we can enter 3/64 equals, and we can cut down by 200 though. And this time we're going to be using a V-bit tool. So we're going to start with our 90° 1/2 inch V-bit. So we'll select that, and we're going to be machining on the vectors. And again, we don't need to worry about anything else in the form at this moment. So we're going to come down and we're going to call that text, and we'll go straight ahead and apply that by clicking calculate. So we can see that represented in the 2D view as well as the 3D view. And we're just going to go ahead and preview that, just see what we get. And we can see down here in the 3D view by zooming in that the text is actually overlapping into the next character. So this tells us that we might be using too large a V-bit with too big an angle, or that we're cutting too deep. So to address that, we're just going to undo the last object we previewed. We can close out the preview form, and we're going to go back into the text toolpath, and we can look to make some changes. So we could lower the cut depth from say 200 thou to 100, but I think I'm going to change the tool. So we can go back in to open up the tool database. And first, I'm actually going to copy my original 90° 1/2 inch V-bit. So use the copy selected tool or group, and that will create a new tool over which I'm going to copy the settings from the original V-bit. And I'm just going to change the angle down from 90 to 60, and we're going to apply that and then select the tool. So that's added the tool into the tool database and selected it for this toolpath. And then we can recalculate and then preview it again with the changes. And as you can see now, there's good space in between each character. They're not bleeding into each other. So I'm happy with how that looks. So we can put that back in full view. And the next thing that we're going to look at is the 4 drill holes for fixing the nameplate. So we're done with the preview for now, so we can close out the form. And the next thing I'm going to do is just select my 4 drill holes. And I'm going to come across, and this time I'm going to use the drilling toolpath. And I'm going to set my start depth from the top of the material, and our cut depth is going to be the full material thickness. So if I didn't know what that was, I could hit Z equals, and that will give you the full material thickness. As the holes are 1/16 of an inch in diameter, I'm going to select the 1/16 inch end mill. We're not going to need to be using pet drilling in this case because of the thickness of the material. So we can come down and we're going to call that holes and click calculate. So we'll preview that as well now. And you can see now that we've got our 4 holes in the corners. Okay, so we're now going to move on to the last toolpath for the nameplate, and that's the cutout around the outside. But before we do that, we just need to think about how we're going to be machining this. So we don't want to be cutting all the way through the material to leave the part loose. So we're going to add some tabs just to hold it to the waste material, which can be removed later with a bit of finishing. So to get started with that, I'm just going to close out the preview toolpath form, and I'm going to select the boundary vector. And I'm going to go back into the profile toolpath operation to open the form. Our start depth once again is going to be from the top of the material, so we can leave that at 0. The cut depth is going to be the full thickness of the material again, so Z equals, to give you 0.125. We're not going to be wanting to use the V bit for this, so instead we'll use the 1/8 inch end mill, so just a slightly larger end mill. From the 3 options under machine vectors, we're going to want to choose outside in this case. But the thing that we really need to pay attention to here is add tabs to toolpath. So we're going to need that selected, and you'll see that we've got specified a length of 1/2 inch and a thickness of 1/8 inch. So that's much too large for what I need here. So I'm going to change that to 1/8 inch in length and 50 thou in thickness. So now I'm going to look to add those tabs in just to give it a bit of support when it's being machined. So I can go into edit tabs, and I'm going to add a constant number of tabs in this case. So I want 4 in total, and then just click add tabs to add those in. So you can see in the 2D view the location of the tabs, and you can edit the position of these by just holding the left mouse key down over the icon and just dragging these around, so place them anywhere we like on the vector. But I'm just going to leave these where they are, and I'm going to add 2 more in. So just hover your cursor over the vector, and as soon as you see a tick appear, that indicates that you can place a tab there. So I'm going to place one on the end there and another one on the other side. If you've made a mistake, you can also remove them by hovering over the existing tab, and you'll see the X appear, and that indicates that if you press again, left mouse click will remove it. So now we've got the 6 tabs that I want, we can now close out of the form, and we can just review this. So we've set the cutting depth, selected the tool, specified that we want to machine outside the vector, and we've added 6 tabs. So now we can just move down, and we're going to name this Cutout, and we're going to calculate that. So again, we can see the toolpath in the 2D and the 3D view. And if I just rotate this slightly, you can see where the tool's lifting to leave the tabs. So if I just simulate this now, I'll just head over to preview all toolpaths. And now you can clearly see the cutout with the depth of the tabs. And what's displayed in the preview is the finished part, which we've achieved through the 4 toolpaths. So the pocket, text, holes and cutout. And the final thing for us to do here is to save out the toolpaths to send to the machine. So to learn how to do this, please refer to the dedicated toolpath saving guide that you can find in the related video section for this tutorial.